Today's training will cover measurement functions, including how to trigger a start recording from a measurement function. This is useful if you want to start a recording when an object in your field of view gets above or below a certain temperature. You can also set up a pre-trigger buffer so that you capture information before or post-trigger to capture information after the trigger event. So the first thing we want to do is create a region of interest. So I'm just going to draw a small rectangle and rotate this to align with my soldering iron. All right. Then I'm going to go to the table-based modules and click the measurement function modules and place that on the right-hand side view. Click add a function here, or you can click the plus sign at the bottom to add a function. We'll go to the live view. That's what we're looking at here, the A6783 camera. And we'll select rectangle 1 as our region of interest. I'll use the mean. And whenever this gets above, say, 100 degrees C, I'll want that to trigger the recording. If you're going to be using a lot of measurement functions, it's helpful to label them. You can type in a short description of the measurement function here. If you click the validate function, it will check to make sure that your formula makes sense, and then click add. So here we can see the name of the measurement function and the value. It's currently false. If I want to make any changes to it, I can click the edit function. If you had a region of interest that's changing, you could also create a temporal plot based on this. You could use that for subtraction of two regions of interest or other comparisons. Now let's say we want to start a recording off of this measurement function. So we'll go into record settings. We have our file information set up. We'll go to start and stop recording settings. Under condition, instead of manual start, we'll choose the measurement function as a trigger. In the dropdown, I select base above 100 as my measurement function. You can invert the function rather than changing it if you want to say start on this function, and then if you wanted to stop whenever it gets below 100 degrees, you would choose the same function and click invert input. If it's something that's going to be repeatedly cycling, you may want to rearm after the recording has finished. In this case, we don't need to do that. I will set the stop condition in this case to number of frames. So we'll capture 1,000 frames and then stop the recording. As I mentioned, you can also set up a pre-trigger buffer. So if you want to capture data before, in this case, my region of interest gets above 100 degrees C, you can have the buffer continuously filling up, and then once the recording is triggered to start, this buffer is saved to the file. Similarly, with a post-trigger buffer, this can be useful if you have a sudden event and then you have a long duration cooldown or other event that you want to record afterwards. So you could say you want to record for 10 minutes after the event, but you only want to do that at, say, 1 hertz, 1 frame every second. In this case, I'm not going to use the post-trigger buffer. I have the pre-trigger buffer set for 5 seconds, and the start condition is my measurement function base above 100, and it will stop after collecting 1,000 frames. I click save. The important step of this is to make sure you click to arm the recording. That's the yellow icon next to the record button. You can watch it start to heat up. And as the values increase, remember this region of interest is just looking at the average temperature. So you may see higher temperatures within that region of interest, but until this triggers true, we should not start the recording. And now you see the mean is above 100 degrees C. The measurement function value now shows as true, and the recording started, and it stopped after collecting 1,000 frames. Now we can take a look at the data we just captured. And we can see that indeed we did capture 5 seconds of data before the measurement got to 100 degrees C, which was about 500 frames, and then 1,000 frames after the trigger.